Folks, in my 20 years in the league, I've never seen anything quite like this. Now, I know you've heard me say that a few times over the years, but trust me when I say this one's different. Having served as an NFL scout for 2 decades, I've seen trades that have changed the face of franchises overnight. From blockbuster draft day deals to those last-minute deadline stunners, every trade has its own unique flavor. Still, the whispers echoing through the corridors of the league offices about this potential move have even the most seasoned insiders raising their eyebrows. Imagine a scenario where a struggling team, one with a proud tradition of greatness, finds itself at a crossroads. A team like the Green Bay Packers, who, despite their storied history and a passionate fan base, are finding it difficult to clinch that elusive championship in recent years. Their regular season record of 9-7-1 in 2025 might not seem terrible at first glance, but it's the finer details that paint a more concerning picture. A fifth consecutive loss to end their regular season and a heartbreaking playoff loss where they blew a 21-3 halftime lead speaks volumes about deeper issues that need addressing. Now, this isn't just about adding a player to fill a roster spot. No, what the Packers are potentially eyeing could be a transformative acquisition. It's the kind of move that could define the Matt LaFleur era, reinforcing his commitment and the Packers' philosophy. Yet it's all so hush-hush, so tantalizingly secretive that even my well-placed sources are reluctant to spill all the beans. But rest assured, all signs point to something massive brewing in Green Bay. The anticipation is palpable, the tension almost thick enough to cut with a knife, and honestly, it feels like the calm before a storm that could reshape the NFL landscape. Now, let's delve into the nitty-gritty of what the Packers really need. The team has been on a roller coaster ride with highs and lows painting their recent seasons. Under Matt LaFleur, they've managed to maintain a consistent presence in the playoffs. But let's face it, their playoff record of 3-6 overshadows their otherwise commendable regular season performance. It's not just about getting to the playoffs. It's about making a deep run, and that's where the Packers have been failing to capitalize. The defense has been a crucial aspect that needs revamping. With the exit of Jeff Hafley, who was instrumental in placing the Packers in the top 10 for key defensive metrics, there's a void that might exacerbate their defensive issues. Throughout the 2025 season, despite ranking well in yards and points allowed, the gritty reality is that they faltered when it mattered most. The injury to their star edge rusher Micah Parsons was a critical blow. Parsons, being the anchor of the Packers' defense line, was sorely missed after he tore his ACL, which left a gaping hole in their pass rush department. Analytically speaking, the Green Bay Packers have shown significant struggles in generating consistent quarterback pressure. Their inability to collapse the pocket effectively has been a thorn in their side, especially when up against aerial assaults from teams with strong passing games. The defensive secondary often finds itself overwhelmed without a robust front to back them up. Advanced metrics such as pressure rate percentage and adjusted sack rate paint a picture of a defense that, while competent, is missing the firepower to intimidate and overthrow opposing offenses consistently. The perfect solution for Green Bay lies not just in bringing someone who has pure defensive prowess, but someone who embodies versatility, leadership, and perhaps a touch of that coveted playoff experience sparkle. Enter the potential answer to their woes, Travon Walker. That's right. Travon Walker, the name that's been tossed around in inner circles as someone who could significantly impact the Packers' fortunes. Walker's film tells quite a story. Standing at a formidable 65 and 275 pounds, his physical presence on the field is unmistakable. It's not just his size that's impressive, it's the way he uses it to his advantage. Walker's agility and strength make him an exceptional run defender, a vital skill that translates beautifully to any defensive scheme looking to stuff the run and force teams into passing situations. His ability to set a hard edge and maintain his ground against opposing blockers is a clinic in defensive fundamentals. When you dive into his game tape, you immediately notice his explosive get-off at the line of scrimmage. It's the kind of burst that disrupts backfields and forces quarterbacks to second-guess their decisions. Although his pass-rushing production dipped in 2025, just 3.5 sacks compared to his double-digit sack seasons in 2023 and 2024, it's important to contextualize those numbers. Walker battled injuries, limiting his snap count significantly. However, every defensive snap he took was executed with a degree of intensity that's rare to find. His run defense remains elite, a valuable asset for any team. The statistics back up the visual evidence. Walker's 19 total tackles in the 2025 season must be viewed within the context of his limited playing time due to injuries. His lack of Pro Bowl or All-Pro recognition last year is less a reflection of his capabilities and more a consequence of circumstances beyond his control. Critics might point at the lack of gaudy sack numbers as a cause for concern, but for insiders, it's clear that the right system and health could see Walker return to his pass-rushing prowess. How does a trade for someone like Travon Walker actually play out? First, let's consider the financials. With a fully guaranteed option for 2026 at approximately $14.75 million, Walker isn't exactly a budget option. Yet, his original four-year rookie contract that totaled $37.4 million was a strategic investment by the Jaguars, indicating his perceived value. From a cap perspective, the Packers need to weave some financial magic, especially following their big-ticket commitments in recent seasons. This might involve clearing cap space or restructuring existing contracts to absorb Walker's cap hit seamlessly. Compensation packages for such a trade could include a mix of draft picks and player exchanges. Teams commonly offer future first- or second-round picks for top-tier players like Walker, especially considering his potential upside. Coupled with player swaps, particularly in positions where Green Bay might be deep, this could form an enticing package for Jacksonville. The Jaguars, presumably looking to address their own roster needs, might find flexibility in acquiring assets that help them rebuild their defensive capabilities. When we talk about winners and losers in this potential trade scenario, several layers emerge. The Packers would unquestionably gain a defensive cornerstone capable of reshaping their defensive complexion. For the Jaguars, while losing Walker might seem detrimental, the assets gained could position them better for addressing more immediate needs. The fans, in general, stand to gain by potentially witnessing a resurgent Packers defense, which would translate into more thrilling contests and higher-stakes games. From a scheme perspective, Walker fits like a glove in Green Bay. His versatility allows him to line up in various positions along the defensive front, a dream for a defensive coordinator seeking to introduce confusion and match up challenges for opposing offenses. Compared to players like Parsons, Walker might not yet have the same explosive pass-rushing reputation, but his elite run defense and football IQ make him an invaluable addition to any aggressive defensive scheme. Projected impact. Walker's presence alone demands attention from offensive coordinators, potentially freeing up his teammates to make plays. Best-case scenario. The Packers' defense becomes a top-5 unit, with Walker leading by example and demonstrating his multifaceted skills every game. Worst case, even if the sacks don't pile up immediately, Walker's mentorship and resilience become the linchpin for a young, developing defensive squad. So, what's the final verdict on this potential trade? From a professional standpoint, the acquisition of Travon Walker would be a masterstroke by the Packers. Not only does it address an immediate team need, but it also builds a foundation for sustained defensive excellence. Walker embodies the qualities of leadership and resilience necessary to navigate the grueling NFL landscape. If the Packers pull this off, they could very well be setting themselves up for a deep playoff run and perhaps even a coveted Super Bowl berth. For fans and analysts alike, the timeline of this potential trade will be a critical watch. As the offseason progresses and teams begin maneuvering for better positions, expect rumblings to grow louder. Keep an eye on cap space discussions and the potential movement of draft picks. If this trade materializes, it could happen sooner than later as teams prepare for the 2026 NFL draft landscape. In conclusion, Travon Walker's name is more than just a rumor. It's a representation of hope for the Green Bay Packers, the hope of revitalized defensive prowess, the hope of playoff success, and the hope of bringing the Lombardi Trophy back to its rightful home. Stay tuned, folks, because this might just be the beginning of something truly special in Green Bay.